So another way that you can look at these problems that I didn't show you, but I think is important to see, is that you can actually use these x values and use those to plug in, and then still use the slopes to come up with where your points need to be. Again, it's another way to think about it. And so let me get started with a little graph here. And I know we've done 12 in class, but I think if you see it done a different way, maybe that'll be more helpful. I'm still going to color code this and show where the boundaries are supposed to be, but now this time I'm going to show you how to kind of use those boundaries a little bit. So for example, one of my boundaries is at x equals -4. So I'm going to go over to where x equals -4, and I'm going to draw in a boundary. If I was on the pencil, there we go. And I got to move it because that's not in the right place. And then I'm going to make it dotted because it's an actual boundary, and then I will eventually get rid of it. Okay? So one of the things that I didn't show you is if you just take this -4 and plug it into the equation for x, y ends up giving me 12. And so again, I take -3, I plug in 4, and this is again what y equals. So y equals 12 when x equals -4. And so what I have to do is count up. Maybe I didn't give myself enough room. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I didn't. So let's just slide that down, and we'll start again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think that's it. Try one more time. Make sure I counted right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nope, I did not count right. It should be there. And it's a closed circle because it's or equal to. I gotta get rid of this one because that'll just bother me. And then this one looks awful, so I'm gonna fix it. Okay, so that's my point, -4, 12. And so what I can do from there, again, it has to be to the left because it's less than, so it's going to be over, my graph is going to be on this side of the boundary. Okay, so what I can do is use my slope and come up with another point. So since my slope is -3, make it -3/1. If I go, actually I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it 3, -1. And the reason why is because if I go down 3 right when I'm in the wrong area, I need to be over here. So I'm going to actually just move this and make it 3 over -1. So I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go right 1. So 1, 2, 3, and so it's going to be in this area. Okay, and so from there I can just draw my line. And I know I showed that how to put the arrow on there, but you get the point. So that's how I can use the value and the slope to make sure I'm going the right way, rather than in some of the videos I showed drawing the whole line and chopping it off. You can use this to help get you started. All right, that's another way to think about it. Now I'm getting rid of that boundary. And so now, and actually this one is really nice when you use those 2 points. Okay, so since I'm going to have a boundary between 0 and 3, what I can do is just plug in 0 for x. So because I have this equation y equals x, that's what this means. So if I plug in 0, I get y equals 0, so I have a point at 0, 0, except it's an open circle because it's greater than. So I put an open circle at 0, 0, and then when I plug in 3, I get y equal 3. So at 3, 3, it's a closed circle, and so I just fill that one in. And literally, I use these values to create endpoints. And so now I just connect those points, and that middle section is now done. And you're sitting there going, man, that's way easier. Why didn't you show us that the first time? And I'd be like, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I should have. But it's all good. I'm showing you now. And then the last one, where x is greater than 3, you know, there is no x value here. This is just a horizontal line at 8. So I go up to 8, and it starts at where x equals 3. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's going to be right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is going to be right there. Let me zoom in a little bit and make it better. Okay. And then, since it's a horizontal line, it goes to the right. I just it didn't give me the arrow. I thought for sure I'd have it. All right. So that's the way that you can use these values to sort of plug them in to get you started. I know I had you find the y-intercept and draw it out. That's just another way to do it. Okay. Obviously, I've shown you a bunch of different ways to do it, and all of them are totally acceptable. Now, when I come up with the domain and range, right, here's where it gets a little tricky. When I move from left to right, I have this gap. And this, I'm going to get rid of these colors here for a second because they're just kind of in the way right now. If you notice here, x's can be negative, 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 all the way up to -4. Then it stops. It starts up again at when x is 0. So I have this gap right in here on the x. And I draw it all the way down to the x to sort of show that there's the missing part. So I have to write an inequality for that. And then on this side, there is no gap, and then right here it picks up again there and keeps going. So then the other part of the domain is this part. So my domain is going to be x less than or equal to -4 or greater than 0. That's my domain. Okay. Now, let's get rid of all this and then talk about the range. So the range has a couple different spots. One, I have a bottom, and then it stops. So here, this is 3 to 0. Then it picks up again right here. And I keep drawing it, extending it into the y-axis on purpose so that you can see what that value is. And then we have another spot. There's a bottom, and it keeps going. And this, we figured out before, was 12. So I'm going to have 3 parts of the range. I have this part, I have this part, and I have this part. So now I'm going to just write that. Okay, so the range equals, the first time is from 0, open circle, so it's less than. This is f of x, and less than or equal to 3. That's the number 1. Or f of x equals 8, or greater than 12. Greater than or equal to, because it's a filled-in, closed-in circle. Greater than or equal to 12. Okay. So there's your domain and range. There's your graph using the points. Use it if you need it. Okay. Feel free to write me, and I'll try to help you before your quiz, and we'll kind of go from there.